In this video, we'll cover saving files in Photoshop. This is a fundamental Photoshop skill, and you'll use it every single time you work in Photoshop. On the right, I've opened a Finder window to view my files. This is the equivalent of the Explorer in Windows. On the left, I've got Photoshop with a new blank file that I just created, but haven't saved yet. There are two commands in Photoshop we can use for saving: Save As and Save. You'll use the Save As option anytime you want to set or change the name, the location, or the format of the current file. And that's what I want here, since my newly created file has no location or format set. So let's go ahead and click File Save As. We could also do this with a keyboard shortcut of Control-Shift-S in Windows or Command-Shift-S in Mac. The file name will autofill with the name that I used when I made the document. I could edit it here if I wanted to. The file extension will be set automatically based on the format that I choose to save the file in. I'll need to choose where to save this file. Right now, this is going into a folder called Demo Save, which happens to be the one that I'm also showing in my Finder window. Let's set the format. I want to save this as a Photoshop file, but you can see in the dropdown there are lots of different file formats we could save in. So when we're using Save As, we could use that option to convert an image file from one format to another. I've got some saving options here, which I'll leave unchecked for now. And then I've got some options for color. In this case, I want to check Embed Color Profile, and that's a step that can help you keep more consistency in your colors going from screen to print. Let's go ahead and click Save, and I can see that my PSD file has now shown up in that folder, and I can see in Photoshop on my File tab that there's now a PSD extension after the name. Save As can also be used to save incremental backups of a design as you make changes. So let's pretend that I'm doing some work making a layered collage here. I'll just go ahead and paste in some imagery. Now, what if I wanted to do some more editing, but maybe I don't necessarily want to lose the current state of the file? Let's bring up Save As again, and this time I'll use the keyboard shortcut, Control-Shift-S on Windows or Command-Shift-S on Mac. So let's give this a different file name, but keep the location the same. And let's look at these save options. Now that I've added some layers to my file, I can decide whether to keep them or to flatten everything into one layer. You'd really only want to uncheck this if you were never going to make edits to the file again, so I'll leave it checked. If we check the As a Copy option, we'll save a copy of the file while keeping the current one open for further editing. Sometimes Photoshop will check this for us automatically if we're saving to a format that wouldn't support the current document's features. For example, if we try to save this as a JPEG, which can't support layers. If we leave it unchecked, the current file will be closed, and the new copy we're about to save will become the working document. In this case, we want it unchecked, so we can save out stages of our composition. So I'll go ahead and click Save, and I can see that I've got a version of this new composition. It's separate from my original file, and that's good. Now I'll go ahead and click Save As one more time, so I'll have a third copy where I can keep on editing. So maybe I'll just do a little bit more work here, move some of this imagery around. And as I'm working, I notice that I get a little asterisk next to the file name in the File tab, and that's telling me that I have unsaved changes. I can save by clicking File Save in the menu bar, or hitting Control-S on the keyboard in Windows or Command-S in Mac. That will simply save the changes to the current file. Now, if I make some changes without saving, I can jump back to the last saved version by clicking File Revert in the menu bar. So as you're working, you want to make sure that you're saving often. Photoshop does not have an autosave feature, and you want to make sure all of your edits are being saved. Okay, that's an overview of saving files in Photoshop.